Could the pyramids themselves also belong, not to Khufu, not to Egypt, but to a civilization lost in time? A robot crawls into the pyramid and finds a sealed door. In the early 1990s, German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink sent a small robotic camera deep into the narrow shafts of the Queen's chamber. For years, experts believed these shafts were only symbolic, tunnels to nowhere. But when the robot reached the end, it found something astonishing. A perfectly fitted limestone slab, sealed tight, with two small copper handles. A door. The discovery electrified the world. Why would anyone carve a hidden shaft, only to block it with a door? And what secret was so important that it had to be sealed away for thousands of years? A decade later, in 2002, researchers drilled a tiny hole through the slab to peek behind it. Millions watched on live television as the camera revealed another limestone block. Another sealed door. And to this day, that second barrier has never been opened. Then, in 2017, technology revealed yet another mystery. Scientists used muon radiography cosmic rays that can see through stone to scan the pyramid without disturbing it. The results were staggering. They detected an enormous hidden void, a chamber as large as the Grand Gallery itself, completely unknown until now. But once again, authorities stepped in. Further exploration was denied. So we are left with questions. Why seal hidden doors in the heart of the pyramid? Why block access to a massive secret chamber discovered by science itself? What lies behind those sealed doors? Golden treasure? Lost technology? Or a truth too dangerous to reveal? One man decides what history you're allowed to know. 4 decades, that man has been Dr. Zahi Hawass. Charismatic, loud, always in front of the cameras. But behind the scenes, he held something far more powerful: control. As head of Egypt's antiquities, he decided who could dig, what could be studied, and which discoveries were allowed to reach the public. And with that control came a pattern. Independent researchers denied access. New ideas dismissed without review. Promising discoveries locked away before they could be fully explored. If you challenged the official story, you were shut down. If you asked the wrong questions, you were silenced. Supporters say Hawass was protecting Egypt's heritage, shielding its treasures from wild speculation and reckless theories. But critics see something else. A gatekeeper standing at the doorway of history, deciding not just what is protected, but what is hidden. Because here's the real question. Was Hawass protecting the monuments of Egypt? Or was he protecting the narrative itself, the story we've all been taught? The story that says the pyramids were tombs, that they were built with primitive tools, that nothing older, nothing more advanced, ever existed. But if the truth is different, if the secrets of the past threaten the present, then who really benefits from silence? If history is being guarded, maybe it's because the monuments hold a secret too big to rewrite. 3 pyramids, 3 stars. In the 1990s, researcher Robert Bauval noticed something extraordinary. The 3 Great Pyramids of Giza are not randomly placed. Their layout mirrors the 3 stars of Orion's belt down to the smallest detail. But here's the twist. The alignment doesn't match the sky during Khufu's reign, around 2500 BC. It matches the night sky more than 12,000 years ago, in 10,500 BC. Why would the builders design the pyramids to mirror Orion's belt from a time long before pharaohs walked the earth? For the ancient Egyptians, Orion was no ordinary constellation. It was Osiris, the god of death, rebirth, and eternity. To align their greatest monuments with these stars was not just symbolic. It was a cosmic message. A code written in stone. This suggests something incredible. Whoever planned the pyramids had precise astronomical knowledge that mainstream history insists ancient Egyptians did not possess. Knowledge that points to a culture far older, far more advanced, than we've ever been taught. So we have to ask, if the pyramids weren't simply tombs, but carefully aligned with the heavens, was the Great Pyramid really a burial place for a king? Or was it something far greater? A cosmic machine encoding the heavens themselves? History remembers Egypt as the first, but what if it was only the heir? If the pyramids align with stars from 10,500 BC, then perhaps they were not designed by Khufu at all, but by a civilization long forgotten. A civilization erased from the history books. Researcher Graham Hancock has spent decades pursuing this possibility. His theory: before Egypt, before Mesopotamia, there was an advanced culture global and reached destroyed by a cataclysm at the end of the last ice age. Floods, earthquakes, shifting climates, wiping away almost every trace. Almost. The evidence? In Turkey stands Göbekli Tepe temples over 12,000 years old, built with megaliths carved with stunning precision. Thousands of years before Egypt's first dynasty, people were already building monuments on a scale we never imagined possible. And Egypt itself may hold more clues. At Saqqara, the Serapeum houses gigantic granite boxes, each weighing over 70 tons. The cuts are flawless, their surfaces mirror-smooth as if shaped by machinery, not chisels. At Abydos, mysterious temples show levels of craftsmanship that rival modern engineering. Too advanced, too sudden, for a civilization supposedly just learning to build in stone. Could it be that the Egyptians inherited this knowledge? That they were not the inventors of this genius, but the inheritors of an ancient legacy? If that is true, then the Great Pyramid is not just Egypt's crown jewel. It is a relic from an earlier world, a world we barely remember. And if this knowledge came from a forgotten world, then who were its people? Sometimes history's greatest secrets aren't lost, they are buried. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as the most studied, most debated monument in the world. And yet, its true story remains hidden in shadows. Think back. No proof that Khufu built it. No body. No treasure. No inscriptions. Just silence. Impossible stonework blocks weighing 80 tons, cut with a precision our modern tools can barely imitate. Of an age before Egypt itself. Piece by piece, the official story crumbles. But still, mainstream archaeology resists. Why? Because to accept the evidence would mean rewriting everything we think we know about human history. It would mean admitting that Egypt may not have been the beginning, but a continuation of something far older. Hidden chambers and sealed doors, never opened, guarding secrets we're not allowed to see. A sphinx scarred by ancient reigns, whispering. National pride. Academic reputations. Generations of textbooks. All stand in the way of a truth too uncomfortable to face. But the sands of Egypt cannot hide their secrets forever. One day, those sealed doors will be opened. One day, the hidden chambers will be explored. And when that happens, the story of the pyramids will not just change Egypt. It will change humanity. One day, those doors will open, and when they do, the story of humanity may never be the same again. They call it Khufu's tomb. But what across Egypt are covered wall to wall with names, hieroglyphs, and stories carved in stone. Yet, in the Great Pyramid, the most extraordinary structure of them all, there is nothing. No celebration of Khufu. No record of his reign. Just silence. If everything you've been told about the Great Pyramid is a lie. The Great Pyramid of Giza. For 5,000 years we've been told the same story. A tale so simple, so repeated, that most people never think to question it. Pharaoh Khufu, a mighty ruler of Egypt, built this colossal monument as his tomb. Tens of thousands of workers, sweating under the desert sun, armed with nothing more than ropes, wooden sledges, and primitive copper chisels. And in just 20 short years, they supposedly raised a structure so vast, so precise, that even today it remains the largest stone building on Earth. It's a heroic story of human determination. But here's the problem: almost everything you've ever been taught about the Great Pyramid is based on guesswork. Assumptions. Educated theories at best. Not hard facts. And the deeper you dig, the more this official story starts to crumble. At the center of this mystery stands one man, Dr. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's most famous and most powerful archaeologist. For decades he has been the gatekeeper of Egypt's past. Every excavation, every discovery, every camera crew allowed near the pyramids, went through him. And with that power came something darker: control. Control over which theories were allowed to survive, and which were silenced before the world ever heard them. Independent researchers shut down. Promising explorations suddenly cancelled. Strange discoveries sealed away, their secrets locked behind official denials. Why? Why block research at the exact moment new evidence is about to surface? Is Dr. Horras truly protecting Egypt's heritage, or is he protecting something else entirely? Because if the official story isn't just incomplete, but deliberately hidden, then everything you thought you knew about the pyramids is a lie. What kind of tomb has no body? For centuries, we've been told the Great Pyramid was Pharaoh Khufu's final resting place. His grand monument. His eternal home. But here's the truth: there is not a single inscription inside the pyramid that says Khufu built it. Not one. And that's strange. Because the ancient Egyptians wrote down everything. Their daily lives, their prayers, their victories, even the smallest rituals. Entire tombs. The only marks that link his name to the pyramid were discovered thousands of years later, hidden in upper chambers. Faint red symbols, chalked onto stone blocks. But even these are debated. Were they real? Or were they forged long after the fact, to give the pyramid an owner it never truly had? And what about the burial itself? Every royal tomb in Egypt was filled with treasures, golden masks, sacred artifacts, and above all, the body of the king. But inside the Great Pyramid, none of it exists. No treasures. No artifacts. No mummy. Nothing that marks this as a tomb at all. So the question grows louder. If the Great Pyramid wasn't Khufu's final resting place, if it wasn't a tomb at all, then what was it really built for? Copper chisels, against 80-ton blocks of granite? Think about that for a moment. The Great Pyramid is not just big, it is terrifyingly precise. Each side of its base runs more than 750 feet, yet the difference between them is less than a few inches. And its alignment? Almost perfect with true north. Off by only a fraction of a single degree. Even with satellites, lasers, and modern tools, matching that level of accuracy would be an achievement today. And then, there are the stones. Millions of them. Some as heavy as 80 tons. Hauled from quarries miles away, then set into place so tightly that you can't even slide a razor blade between them. Inside the king's chamber, massive granite blocks stand like frozen giants. Their surfaces don't look rough. They look machined. Smooth. Measured. Precise. Engineer Christopher Dunn studied these blocks and found the evidence hard to ignore. Perfectly round drill cores. Spiral grooves. Cuts so clean they suggest high-speed drilling. This is not the work of simple hand tools. These are the fingerprints of advanced technology we're not even sure how to reproduce today. And modern experiments prove it. Teams using copper chisels and pounding stones worked for days, and barely scratched the granite. Their tools bent. Their hands blistered. And the stone laughed back, untouched. So here's the question: if even today's engineers struggle with granite this hard, how did people thousands of years ago cut it, move it, and set it with such impossible precision? If ancient tools can't explain it, then maybe the builders had something else. Something powerful. Something we've lost. If the builders had technology we've lost, then maybe that explains another mystery hidden deep inside the pyramid. Imagine working in pitch darkness, without leaving a single burn mark. The interior of the Great Pyramid is a maze of narrow shafts and chambers. To carve, to transport, to position stones with such precision, workers would have needed light. Yet when researchers examined the walls and ceilings, they found something shocking. No soot. No smoke. No scorch marks anywhere. But how is that possible? Ancient torches and oil lamps always leave residue. Black stains. Carbon trails. Marks that last for centuries. We see them in other Egyptian tombs, but not here. Not in the Great Pyramid. So what did the builders use? Polished copper mirrors bouncing light through twisting passages? Unlikely. The angles are too complex. The reflections too weak. That leaves us with a chilling possibility. Perhaps the builders had a way to generate light clean, powerful, controlled thousands of years before history says it was possible. And if they had the power to light the darkness, what else were they capable of? If the builders could light the darkness, what else have we overlooked in Egypt's sands? The desert tells one story, but the stones tell another. For centuries, the Great Sphinx of Giza has watched silently over the plateau. Egyptologists claim it was carved around 2500 BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. But when geologist Robert Schoch and researcher John Anthony West studied the Sphinx, they saw something that didn't match the desert timeline at all. The body of the Sphinx is deeply weathered, but not by wind. Not by sand. The patterns are smooth, rounded, flowing, clear signs of water erosion. Torrential rain. Heavy downpours. The kind of climate the Sahara hasn't seen for over 12,000 years, back at the end of the last ice age. That changes everything. If the Sphinx shows water erosion, it must have been carved thousands of years before the pharaohs even existed. Which means the dynastic Egyptians may not have built the Sphinx at all. They may have simply repaired it. Restored a relic from a much older, forgotten age. Imagine what that means. A monument older than history itself, standing as proof that advanced builders existed long before Egypt rose. And if the Sphinx is truly thousands of years older than we've been told,